Guys, the year is drawing to an end, so I thought it was time. Big filming day here, if you're noticing I'm wearing the same attire. I thought it would be a good idea for us to look at what I think the best knives that have come in this year. Some of them I bought, some of them people sent, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of them, so buckle up. This is going to be a longer video. Let's turn this around and look at the best knives, in my opinion, of 2024. All right, guys, lots of knives to get through. Let's start with some of the more interesting offerings up front, and then we'll get into what I think is the best knife of the year. So let's start right here with this one. And it's the Rosecraft Blades Sweetwater Creek Senator. This is a beautifully done slip joint with actual true stag handles. It's done in D2 steel. Rosecraft is making some of the best slip joints you're going to find on the market. Outside of Great Eastern Cutlery, these are probably some of the best. I know that there's other companies out there. Enrique Pena is making some really cool ones with other companies. They're really pricey. These are more along the budget lines that you would expect to see from your grandfather's era of slip joint knives, but done in a quality factor that I think rivals some of the more predominant names. Now, I know there's some other companies out there to do it, but this thing is great. Beautifully done. Somebody told me this is a lamb's foot blade. I really don't care. I'm not going to get into the naming structures of those knives, but beautifully done Senator style pattern on this. They're done in D2 steel. This thing is got great action. And the nice thing about it is, for a smaller, slender knife, you've got this radiused area here. It's nice and thick. It sits in your hand beautifully, and it cuts really well. The Rosecraft knives, the Rosecraft Blades slip joint knives have really been super impressive. I have got several of their slip joint knives, and it was really hard to pick which one of these I thought was the best. And just from the functionality and size and thinness of the blade and how it cuts, I think this has to be the one I pick. I have the Barlow that Scab sent me. I bought one of their Clinch River swaybacks. I think that this one is just a better all-around knife, in my opinion. Truly a traditional, just a gorgeous knife, and nice one to throw in your watch pocket. So absolutely a yup. You should absolutely pull the pin on one of these. Let's go ahead and move on to the next knife. And it's one of the two fixed blades on this list. This is the Night Guard by Kell Knives, and I absolutely love this. So Tim is making super functional knives that not just for self-defense, first responders, even though this is an absolute beast for that. Super comfortable, got the nice ring, skull breaker, glass breaker on the back, nice scout carry sheath. But the fact is, this is still functional in a day-to-day carry role. It's an 80 CRV2, which means it's going to be fairly impact resistant. And their knives coming out of Kell are the sharpest out of box factory edges, hands down, I've ever had. You can pick and choose what kind of handles you want. You can see this gets carried a lot because I'm already starting to patina the micarta, but the micarta on this is done beautifully. This is a great Wharncliffe. So this is the Night Guard. They've got a bunch of different models. I have another one coming. The Agent 005 should be coming sometime soon, and we're going to do a review of that. But as far as a small EDC self-defense fixed blade, or self-defense, in my opinion, fixed blade, this is just about the best. They're using really nice really nice belt attachments on this that are not difficult. So a lot of times you have to fight or take your belt off. You got to fight with your sheath to get it on. This isn't. You simply can you lift up on this, get it over your belt, let it drop in, and there you go. And then it just sits beautifully on there. It is easy to carry. And then just the overall posture of that blade in hand, one of the most comfortable little fixed blades. And I gotta tell you, I made and designed a Wharncliffe fixed blade. I say, this is probably a little bit more comfortable than mine. It's just a very aggressive, dropped into the cut, nice Wharncliffe blade. Beautiful knife. You need to pick one up. Is it a yup or a nup? It is a yup. These are the best knives of 2020. Pull the pin on one of those. Let's move on to the next one. I'm not going to do this for everyone, guys, I promise. So this is the first of the knives on the list that I bought for myself, and this is the Spyderco Military 2. I've always wanted one of these, and as you can see from the scratch patterning on this knife gets used a lot. And it's because it's just a great knife all around. I love the PM2. I think the PM2 is probably the best all around EDC, hands down, on the market. But I love this knife for what it is. It's a much larger, much more aggressive version, super comfortable in hand. This is done in their crew wear. And I have to tell you, that's still the factory edge. It's only been stropped. This has never been sharpened, even with all the cutting I've done. And like I said, you can see the discoloration where I've cut enough cardboard to scratch the finish on this, that this still has its factory edge and is still hair popping sharp. It's amazing. Their crew wear heat treat was done beautifully. This is in a compression lock that is just dialed in. This is the first Spyderco I've ever owned that came with 0 blade play, 0 edge screw ups on the sharpening. It's just the perfect Spyderco. And Spyderco is one of those companies that has always offered you tip up, tip down, left, right, ambidextrous carry, and their micarta on this is beautiful. This is the best Spyderco I've ever owned. It's not my favorite. I think this is the best model they make, but I absolutely love this, and it spends a ton of time in pocket. I even went so far as I put one of the Blue Rhino tritium vial plugs for in the lanyard hole on this. So absolutely a dream to carry if you're looking for a good larger knife, because these are about coming in at just about 9 1/4. This is a really good knife. Nice distal taper. It cuts so well because you've got this nice flat area, and then the sweep up of the belly on that allows it to do a lot of things you can't do with other knives. So there you go, the best Spyderco that they make right there, the Military too. So guys, don't forget to stay tuned to the end, because you're gonna have a sneak peek of the knife of the year video. So guys, let's get this out of here and look at the next knife. All right, guys, this is the Jango XL. Now, this came to me from one of the paying members as a gift. This is absolutely, if I had to pick one of the knives on the list that I think is the most attractive knife, it would be this one. You've got this beautiful titanium diamond tread pattern on here with a gorgeous pivot collar on this is done in Damascus. I'm not a big fan of Damascus. I think it'd be gaudy at times, but if it's used the right way, just a pop of color, it's beautiful. Nicely done pocket clip on all this. And then when you open it up, you have this gorgeous satin Elmax blade that's done in a clip point fashion, which gives you a blade that is super functional for an outdoor task. A lot of outdoor tasks. I mean, you've got a nice flat area from here to here before you roll into this belly. The tip is swept back because it's a clip point, which means if you're processing small game and you're gutting an animal, you're skinning an animal, you're not going to pop a gut because your tip is not as forward aggressive, which means it's beautiful. I love a good clip point, especially when you do something like this, like you facet it and you've got this big fuller, and then it's done in one of the best axis locks you're going to find. This is the XT lock, or X-Tau lock that they call it, which has got these thumb posts on it for the crossbar lock that are just super, super comfortable. Nice aperture on that. And then in hand, honestly, one of the most comfortable knives you're going to find. Now, I liked the original Jango, and I think the original Jango, the smaller version, might be even better for skinning an animal, but for somebody that's a larger guy like me with larger hands, this just feels the right size to me. Beautiful jimping on this. This is just a gorgeous all-around knife. And to top it off, Kunwu has went out of their way stating that their primary focus is to not just offer you the best knife at the price, but the best heat treat. And I have to say, this has got the best heat treat on Elmax I have ever had outside of a custom heat treat, small batch, no more than 5 knives at a time. It's just an amazing knife. You should absolutely try to pick one up if you haven't. So let's move on to the next knife. And like I said, not all these knives are new releases. These are just the new knives to me. This is my cold steel Tai Pan. This is the best, one of the best fixed blade knives I've ever had. This came in, I got this for myself, with my friends' points, and then I went as far as to purchase a a custom leather sheath for this. This thing is just incredible. We're not gonna spend a lot of time on it because it's not a new model. You guys have heard me talk about this so many times. I think this is probably one of the most perfect fighting knife designs ever. This is definitely the best dagger I've ever owned. This one is in the San Mai. And once I resharpened this knife, you can see my edge on it. Once I resharpened this knife, this thing is a buzzsaw going both directions. It is one of the most perfectly ground daggers I've ever owned, because typically the daggers can be problematic with that central ridge down the middle, and then your edges get off. And then just the comfort in hand. You see that tapering handle, and you would think that might feel like it wants to come out of hand, and it doesn't. And this Cray-X handle that they use, that's injection molded onto the tang, absolutely grippy, whether your hands are wet. It feels sticky, but it's not sticky. It's just the right amount of grip and tack on that. And I've got to tell you, that in hand is the most comfortable, nimble, large knife. This knife is not little, and it's really nimble in hand. It's very, very responsive. And if you've studied martial arts and used edged weapons, you know what I'm talking about. It's got everything you want in that to allow you to manipulate that knife very, very well in a fighting or a defensive manner. So guys, there you go. One of the best knives Cold Steel has ever made, the Cold Steel Tai Pan. And it's just a gorgeous, iconic knife. So let's go ahead and move on to a newer knife. That's the Iron Fly Yolo. You're going to see this in my Knife of the Year video because I think this is the best budget knife I have gotten this year. This is done by the same folks that run Kunwu. Kunwu owns Iron Fly. This is basically like their budget line. This is a button lock, cleaver style, modified Wharncliffe in 14C28N. This one is G10 with a brilliant button lock on this. Now, this is reverse flick only, but the fact it's a button lock means that it is ambidextrous. It's got this wire clip on it, and if you saw the clip that was on the Kunwu Jango we looked at earlier, that clip will fit. So if you decide you want to maybe purchase one of those as an aftermarket clip, you could put this on there. I love this style clip. They are never a hotspot. They don't ever scratch anything. It's not like it's going to scratch your leather steering wheel getting in and out of your car. It doesn't catch on things. And I know a lot of people don't like them, but then comfort in hand, because it is rounded, super, super comfortable. This is just about the perfect cleaver style knife you're going to find. And the 14C28N heat treat that they did on this obviously is just about perfect. This thing out of box was super, super sharp. I wound up immediately dropping this on the glass plate and resharpened it. And I was like, well, we'll see how it sharpens. Sharpened really, really well. And then has held that edge very well. It's got that big forward choil so you can choke up on it. And then when you get up on it like this, if you need to use it for like cutting open boxes and things, it's just got a natural spot to put your thumb. And then like the Jango, it's got this beautiful fuller that runs all the way into the aperture, and very, very good jimping on this. And that fuller that runs the length of the blade is contrasted by a very fine bead blast and then the satin flats, but then it gives you that unique blade shape. So this is just all around a winner of a budget knife. Like I said, the Knife of the Year video is going to have this and the Knife of the Year in it. So guys, let's go ahead and bring out the next knife, which is not a new knife. It's just new to me. And it's the Cold Steel Espada, large Espada, which was a gift to myself. Now, this has impressed me enough that you've probably seen 2 other videos talking about this knife or this in comparison with some other knives, probably on a live feed. This thing is just amazing. So the Cold Steel large Espada is a 12¼ inch knife that absolutely carries like it's just a little guy. You'll put it in your pocket and forget it's there. But it is a beautiful clip point blade like the Jango, but it's a long one with a nice gentle radius as this blade thickens up. It's Bowie style-esque in how it's wider here than it is here. Like it chokes down. It's in the triad lock, G10. This thing sits in your pocket and you will forget it's there, honestly. But this thumb plate on here is one of the best wave features I've ever seen on a knife. All the Cold Steels I've ever had that had this, the Spartan, and I had another one, I've got this one, and I had one that's on loan to my buddy, absolutely just is a dream to wave off the pockets. But you can also as opposed to the Emerson wave feature, you can use it as a thumb deployment plate. It's a thumb plate. This one's in AUS 10, which is a steel that has been problematic in the past, but I don't see an issue with this one. And then just to look at it aesthetically, the stonewash that they did on this is beautiful. And then I've talked about it before. I don't know why, but I find the font that they used for the actual labeling of the knife just to be very attractive. The G10 is a great choice on this. It is aggressive enough that you can grab a hold of it. If you find it to be too aggressive, it's tearing up pockets like mine was. You can always just sand off the surface there. And it comes with an extra pocket clip in case you want to carry it left-handed, because the triad lock is a back lock, which is absolutely ambidextrous, and triad lock, absolutely the strongest lock on the market. It is as close to a fixed blade as you're going to get without an actual fixed blade. So guys, go ahead and pick one up. I'll try to put links to as many of these knives as I can down below. But yeah, there you go, guys. Let's move on to the next knife. And it's this. This is absolutely the best knife I've ever purchased. I think you guys know that this is going to be my knife of the year. I've talked about it before, so I'm not worried about doing the spoiler alert. I will do the knife of the year video. This thing is absolutely incredible. This is the Microtech Knives Amphibian. And everything about this is a win. From aesthetics to feel in hand, blade shape and design, the materials it's made out of, the lock that's on it being the best crossbar lock on the market. Benchmade, take a lesson from Microtech. They took your design and improved it and made it better. So this thing is a slightly recurved drop point, just aggressive looking knife. Nice and thin behind the edge. Aluminum handles on this, titanium pocket clip backspacer, and lock with steel liners here at the lock mechanism. It is a crossbar style lock, but is a single spring plunger style, and it is absolutely the best knife I've ever purchased. The aluminum on it, as always, from Microtech is beautiful. You can see I've already dropped it, which is sad because I scuffed the aluminum a little bit, but hey, it's a knife, it gets used. Access on this lock is great, and it is truly ambidextrous like the others, and they have went out of their way to protect your holes so you can take this pocket clip and flip it without needing to clean out the holes first, and they've went away from their proprietary hardware, which means you're going to be able to maintenance this knife. Once you roll it out, that beautiful blade cuts like a dream because it is nice and thin. They've even reinforced the tip. A lot of people are like, oh, that's a grind flaw. It's not. It's intentional. It's so that you don't have such a thin knife at the tip, but you've got a nice cutting surface. And then they've done it in a steel that is a proprietary steel. Some people have been complaining about it, saying that it's not a good steel. They say it's a soft version of M390. I find... Sorry about that, guys. My SD card completely filled up on the camera. What I was saying is a lot of people have complained about the steel. They say it's a softer version of M390. I don't find that to be the case. Everything about this knife is just about perfect, which means that not only is it like my best, one of the best knives you're ever going to find, it's my pick for one of the best knives of the year, even though it's not a new model, like I said. So you're going to see this in another video. I'm going to do my knife of the year video shortly after this. So guys, let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts and send you out about your day. Yeah, guys, a lot of fun. And I think you knew that my knife of the year pick, the Microtech Amphibian, was going to be on this list. I appreciate everybody that sent me stuff, the gifts that I got. I appreciate all you guys. Hopefully you've had a happy holiday season. It's just after Christmas for you guys right now. It's before Christmas for me. So I just wanted to tell you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I appreciate everything you guys do for the channel. I love you all. I'm not going to get into it. You know there's a bunch of affiliate links down below. You know that there's coupon codes, crazysharp, all one word. I've got the Amazon store, all of that down there. There's a membership with exclusive content. I'm not going to make this take any longer. Just research that stuff down below. Guys, I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you sometime in the new year.